Hello and welcome to Riot. I'm your host Tisa and this is
May May.
In tonight's topic we're going to discuss grief.
We're going to talk about grief today because it's a very poignant day for me. 16 years ago, I lost my brother very suddenly to methadone. He took one pill. That's all it took to kill him because he wasn't a drug addict, but he might have had a sensitivity, or methadone is just a harsh drug for you to take out of nowhere. And so every year that today comes around is a struggle. And this year it's been a harder struggle than most, and I've been a little on edge and a little sensitive. And because October 9th is also close to the October 15th deadline, work has been a little stressful too. So it is what it is.
If you don't know what she's talking about deadlines, which probably you don't, most people don't, she's talking about IRS for businesses.
It's the extension deadline. If in April you decided you didn't want to do your personal tax return by April 15th, you can get an extension to October 15th.
So it's not only businesses, but you deal with a lot of businesses.
There's some businesses, but mostly it's individual.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my boss was out all morning, and so I got handed all the new clients, and one of them was pretty complicated, and then I came home and I did another complicated return. So it's been a thoughtful day, but it's also been one of those, every time I had a moment to think, I thought about him, and it's been stressful. It doesn't go away. When Eric first died, when my brother first died, he's all I ever talked about. He's all I ever wanted to talk about. He was, always first in my mind. As happens when you lose somebody close to you. And then over time, became easier to deal, not easier to deal, but just easier to live with the pain that comes from losing your companion for your whole life. And, there's always going to be 2 days a year that are harder than all the other days in the year, and for me today is one of them. And so it's been I've been kind of bitchy, I've been kind of mean, I've been kind of sensitive, and so it's okay. Have you ever lost anybody like that?
Not super. I don't know. I've not lost a sibling. I've lost uncles and grandparents and good friends. But I also deal with grief totally different than you.
Grief is an individual.
Yeah. And I deal with it way different than you do because I've been around death my whole life. So, from a young age, I've learned to deal with it as it's just a part of life, and the person who passed on wouldn't want you to dwell on their passing, but remember them and not be sad about it. Like, that's what I was taught from a young age. I also grew up differently than you.
Well, yeah, and it makes total sense. However, I didn't have anybody in my life pass away until Eric.
Oh, well, ever since I was young, like, my favorite Thea passed away, my Thea Lupe Fakira. She was one of my favorite Theas that I would see at church, and she passed away. And then second grade, my friend Laura passed away, and her dad in a car accident. Her brother and mom survived, and then I'm used to it. Like, I've had this experience my whole life, and plus my dad being a deacon for the Catholic Church, it's a business for him.
Right.
So that kind of
Right, but saying that you're used to it, being used to death of people around you is not the same as being ready or used to death of somebody who was a part of your everyday life. It's a little bit different grieving. So when I say that grieving is an individual thing and you say that we grieve differently, I'm just saying there are shoes that you haven't walked in and there are shoes that I haven't walked in.
See, I've had people that I've hung out with every single day, but they weren't a sibling. There's a difference, but I've hung out with every single day have committed suicide.
Yeah.
And growing up in the 90s and early 2000s with these people, they were family.
Yeah.
And all, because we were a community of people hanging out at the coffee shop, and we considered us a family. So I guess I'm pretty immune to death. I'm like feeling immense grief over it.
I don't know. There's no right way or wrong way to deal with death. There's no right way or wrong way to know how to deal with it. It's a process and it takes time, and all I know is, I mean, I've had people other than my brother die in my life. One of my friends from high school got killed in a car accident a year before Eric died. And I remember sitting at his funeral next to my brother thinking, thank God that's not me up there, because Matt's sister was on stage, and I'm just like, thank God Eric's next to me. But I didn't take the next step to show him how appreciative I was of him. So there's some regret there. However, after my brother died, I lost a son, and then I lost my grandma. And Eric's death, because it was so sudden and so unexpected. And it was the first most poignant death that I've ever had to deal with. I think it's always going to stand out for me because he missed out on so much. He was so full of life. And it was so unexpected.
I feel like there would be nothing that I could say that can change your mind about, or make you feel better. Because because I'm your partner, I'm gonna be with you for the rest of my fucking life.
Mm-hmm.
And you say things like he's missed out on so much, and being a person that believes in a higher power, you should know better that he's not missing out. Right?
Maybe we're missing out on having him part of our lives.
He's there. We know he's there.
I felt him.
Is this going back on the fucking subject of ghosts?
Yeah, it could be. I have felt my brother once.
I felt your brother.
Tisa's felt my brother.
In a very... I don't want to come off as the crazy person on the fucking podcast.
No. No, I...
Since you already outed me on the last podcast.
Oh my God.
Was it this one?
It was
this one.
Was it?
I think
was
so.
it Shot About It? No, it was this one. It was Riot.
We need to keep track. Anyhow. He's around.
Yeah, I haven't felt him in a long time, but that doesn't mean he's not around.
He's not missing out. You see him in your fucking kids.
Yeah.
You should celebrate his life instead of grieving so hard. I can't tell you what to do, but, you know...
I've lived in negativity my whole fucking life.
I know, and that's what
I'm fucking tired of it, but I can't crawl out of it, because every time you tell me I'm being negative, I feel guilty and shame.
Oh my Jesus.
It's just, it is what it is, and I'm trying.
Guilt and shame. That's like, you should get them tattooed on you.
I should get them tattooed on me and then crossed out.
Oh, that's ghetto. But...
Thanks.
It's like...
I know.
I see
don't
you wouldn't
start.
do it.
Mm.
But...
I do need a physical manifestation of what I'm trying to give up and move forward from.
I feel that his life should be celebrated. Like tonight at the dinner table, she was saying about how he would tell stories and he would act a fool and like he was the clown and everybody loved him and all these things. Like that should be celebrated, that his life of everything that he was. And yes, he's gone. But he's still here. You feel him. You see him in your kids, like especially your fucking boy. Like,
yeah.
He's still around, and maybe you can't feel him so much because you're so feeling down, so much grief and so much sadness instead of being able to let that little light in to make you feel.
I had a rough year. And this year it's harder than other years. It just is. Because I've given up so much. And so this year, it's just harder. So I'm trying to be more positive, and I'll get there. But I gotta get through the bad and the sad and the negative to get there.
You also have to remember why you are where you are. And you told me to continue reminding you of that.
I know, and you know that it's going to be hard, and I'm going to come back to this place over and over and over. I just don't want to feel bad about it every time I do.
You shouldn't feel bad about anything.
I know.
We need to get you hypnotized to get guilt and shame out of you. I swear to God. If I hear those words come out of your mouth one more time...
But it's been so much in my life.
Yeah, but you also know that you should...
I walked away from it so that I would get away from it.
But
and
you're still holding on to it.
I know, because... And this is where some of my deep-seated issues come out, and where I need a therapist myself. Because I can't...
You can't do it on your own, and I can't help you.
Right.
Can you scratch my back? Sorry. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. But, you know what? All in all, tonight ended with this podcast. But before this, crying and everything, we had a good dinner. The kids...
I'm trying to get them to talk to us. I'm trying to get them out of their shell. I'm trying not to do the old best part of the day, worst part of the day. And I'm trying... Tisa's done it twice to me today where I've been pissy. Just fucking angry. And she's like, okay, quick, 3 things you're grateful for. And that's the best way to bring you out of your pissy bullshit mood. And so I pulled it on my kids tonight because I started getting frustrated because, I don't know, I'm one of those people who I do not like the word hate. It rubs me the wrong way. I don't want to hear it. I don't want my kids to say it. My daughter and my son can say fuck all they want, but I don't want them to say hate. That's my line. And my daughter said hate 3 times about the food that I cooked for dinner. And so I was starting to get frustrated, so instead of yelling and berating her, I'm like, quick, Sindel, tell me 3 things that you're grateful for. And so we went around the table, and everybody said their 3 things, and then I questioned them and got all the details, and then it came to me, and I said my 3 things that I was thankful for, and then I added a 4th, and then I started telling stories about Eric, and I thought it was a very nice dinner, and a very nice conversation, and nobody fought. Nobody got angry at anybody else.
You are correct.
So I've also been doing this thing in the mornings where I list everything, all the chores and things that I want to get done over the course of the day. And then I always start it with today's intention. And then on the way to school, I talk to the kids about